I can tell you that that is the farthest from what I expected that could have happened. I never thought that abortion would be a part of our story until I met my birth mother. My sister and I, for as long as we can remember, knew that we were adopted. So it was a really positive thing. We like to say it was our normal. We just didn't know any different. There was always a discussion that we had birth mothers and that we were adopted and that we were given this incredible family and home. My sister had met her birth mother in 2008, and I realized, wow, this woman gave me my sister. And that was the moment that I really, for the first time, gave any thought to meeting my birth mother. Just knowing that she deserved to hear how grateful I was and how great my life had been because of the selfless choice that she had made for me in giving me my family. My birth mother lives in Oklahoma and I live in Austin. And so we met in Dallas. I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to ask her? What is she going to be like? Is she going to love me as much as I hope to love her? There were so many questions, so many unknowns. When I opened the door that day, I was staring at myself. And I remember comparing our hands and our feet and just so many things lined up. And so that was so healing for me to be able to see myself in my birth mother. We enjoyed that first meeting so much that we wanted to continue our relationship. I was on a plane on my way to Oklahoma. I was going to visit her where she grew up and where I would have grown up if she had kept me. And I had a ring and a necklace with my birthstone on it. And so I just wrote, "Thank you for choosing life for me," on the card, and I sealed it. And so I got there. I was so excited. I ran it over to her. I gave her this gift and she opened it up and she saw the ring and the necklace and she cried really happy tears. And she said, "Claire, will you put the necklace on me?" And so I was standing behind my birth mother, clasping the necklace when she opened the card. And I watched her read the words, "Thank you for choosing life for me." And she said, "Claire, there's something I need to tell you." And she stood up from that chair and she grabbed my hand, and I remember her hand was trembling. And I was confused. And she turned towards me and she had tears streaming down her face. And she said, "Claire, I was 13 when I was pregnant with you. I was 13 and I was scared. And I went to my mother, the one person I could trust, and she told me to have an abortion." And so my birth mother was taken to have an abortion that day when she learned that she was pregnant with me. And she had a D&E dismemberment late-term abortion at 20 weeks. She went back to the doctor a few weeks later after realizing things didn't seem right. And they told her that day something very shocking, especially to a little 13-year-old girl like her. They told her that her abortion had been successful, but that she was still pregnant. They told her that day that she had been pregnant with twins and they had successfully aborted my twin, but that I had survived. I found out that day that I had survived something that was meant to take my life. And so she's sitting across from me and tears are streaming down her face and she's reliving all of these feelings that she had shoved to the side since she was a 13-year-old little girl. And she's pouring her heart out to me. And so I think in that moment, all I could process were my birth mother's tears. All I could process was her pain. I couldn't think about myself. And I said, I'm not angry at you. I'm heartbroken for you, but I'm not angry at you. I believe that God can redeem that, and he can create something beautiful out of our brokenness, out of the loss of my twin, out of what abortion has done to our family. And it is a struggle to not let survivor's guilt kind of creep into my mind. I do wonder, what would my twin have been like, and why me and not my twin? That's been a process over the years where I've worked through how this has really affected me and what my life has looked like as a twinless twin. I mean, I'm missing the person that I would have been closest to my entire life, who God designed me to share that intimate relationship with. And so that's been a process over the years. So my 6-year-old daughter, her name is Sadie June. And the day that I had her, I held her in my arms for the first time. And like every other parent, I thought, this is as good as it gets. And then I realized, no, this is different. It might not be more special, but it's more miraculous. Because if that abortion had successfully taken my life, my little girl wouldn't be here. And I hope and pray that my daughter becomes a mother and a grandmother and a great-grandmother. And the reality is that none of that would be possible. None of those people would be here because of that one choice that my birth mother made if the abortion had successfully taken my life as it was meant to. And so the moment that my birth mother met my daughter and she held my daughter for the first time, that I feel like was God's gift to us. It was the tool that could bring us back together, that could really begin a healing process for us, where my birth mother really believed in her heart and knew in her heart that God loved her enough to give her that relationship, not just with me, but with her grandkids, and hopefully one day with her great-grandkids. I'm so grateful that she is willing to allow me to share her story, and she was brave enough to share it with me. My story is able to speak to women across the country that are sitting in the pews of our churches silently suffering because they don't know that there is grace and hope after abortion. There's redemption after abortion. They don't know. And so my story is able to put a face with that unborn baby, but also speak to her grief and speak to the forgiveness that God has for every single one of us, because he doesn't limit it. And so even on my difficult days where I question things and I maybe doubt what is best for me or what God's plan may have been, I can rest knowing he did know me, and he did have a purpose for me, and he did know my twin, and he did have a purpose for my twin's life, and that God is knitting back together what has been broken and using my life and my twin's life for something that is good and something that points people to him.